Hello, I'm Joachim Duplessis. Welcome to the HTS Epoll. It's your opportunity to weigh in on the most pressing issues of the day. The Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmar George, made a special appeal to women of childbearing age to have at least 2 children. Dr. Belmar George made the statement on Thursday at the launch of the Universal Health Coverage Initiative. She says women should take advantage of the offer of free vital laboratory and ultrasound tests to have babies. St. Lucia's population has been aging with the birth rate significantly lower than a few decades ago. The CMO's statement has generated some very strong comments both for and against. So we ask, are you supportive of the call by the Chief Medical Officer for women of childbearing age to have at least 2 children? We took to the streets to get your opinion, and here's what you had to say.
Earlier this week, the CMO was encouraging people to have at least 2 kids. But my problem with this is what happens to these kids after all these free tests have been done, all right? It's not about having kids just because you're getting free tests. But there are families living below the poverty line. What does the government have in place for these families who could barely take care of these kids? What about their schooling? What about their feeding? Who helps these families with that? All right, so if we're gonna go about encouraging people to have kids, then there must be something in place to help take care of these kids, to help the families who are less fortunate in providing for these kids, their feeding and their education.
Well, it's a good idea. I support it. It's a good idea that they're getting free medical attention and assistance. But when the baby is born, that's another whole story again. Will they be getting more assistance? Will the assistance be continued? Because it's difficult and it's very expensive to have a baby. So maybe that's why the population of making babies decline.
Yeah, I feel our population should be increasing, not decreasing. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's definitely good to have 3 or more kids.
Well, it's definitely a step in the right direction. See, now the birth rate has been on the decline, so anything to promote more babies being born, that's a plus for me, so I definitely support it. I think more should be done in terms of after the baby is born, what support do they get then, what care, what are they putting in place to help further assist them. But it's definitely a step in the right direction, I think.
Yeah, I think this is a very good idea. Whosoever came up with this idea, I'm going to take my hat off to you. Because finally St. Lucians are beginning to think like St. Lucians. We don't need to copy the world out there. We can come up with our own ideas such as this. So after this lady makes the baby or these ladies make the baby, will they just be out there like that, or will they be given some medical assistance or be given a little stipend, so to speak? You understand? Don't just make the babies and just leave them by the wayside. And the other mothers who already have babies, are they part of the initiative? Finally, St. Lucians, we're beginning to think out of the box. Let us think like St. Lucian. We don't need those big countries to make ideas for us. Bravo, whosoever came up with the idea.
I am fully supportive of that. The women of today should be bringing forth kids. As you can see, some schools are even closed down. Population so low, and then that causes a lot of problems. We will need less teachers when we have less children. But then at the same time too, encouraging parents to bring forth children, or young women to bring forth children. Some system must be put in place, not just before birth, but also after birth. Because these children will need to go to school, and the parents, the mother in particular, may need help to get the children to school. So if they're planning to encourage them into going into making children, they should also have a system in place where they know that they'll be getting something after birth, some form of stipend to help raise that child.
It's not enough. That ultrasound and that's not enough. You need to give something more. You understand? It could be food stamps monthly, but something more, because these children will not feed themselves. You understand? So what you telling them? Just go and have children. You check it with what? Random men who will not take care of the children? No, if you want them to have children, you have to put things in place where you can take care of them and their children. That's how I see it.
Thanks for those responses. Now to our new discussion. The month of June is being observed as Nutrition Awareness Month. Caribbean nationals have been called upon to use this month to initiate positive change in diet and lifestyle. Nutritionists will be highlighting the link between nutrition and mental health. They say the impact of nutrition on mental health is underrated. So we ask, will you consider making positive change to your diet and lifestyle during Nutrition Awareness Month? Voting is easy. Just log on to htsstlucia.org and vote. Remember, our Epoll team is always on the go to get your responses as well. Watch the HTS News Force from 7 p.m. for the results and the new discussion.